and listen from Pak Kasturi Mahkota, and we will take all questions after this presentation. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamu ala man ittaba'a al-huda walhamdulillahi wahdah wa nasara 'abdah wa 'azza jundahu wa hazama al-ahzaba wahdah walladhi khataba an-nasa jami'an fi kitabihi karim ya ayyuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا والصلاة والسلام على النبي المبعوث للعالمين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم والذي قال في حديثه لا يبلغ عبدا حقيقة الإيمان حتى يحب للناس ما يحب لنفسه. Chairman and of the conference, on behalf of the Patani United Liberation Organization, POLO, I would like to extend our warmest gratitude to our host, Associate Professor Dr. Kamal Zaman Askanda, Coordinator for Peace Research and Education, University of Science Malaysia, and the Southeast Asian Conflict Studies Network, the Consolidation of Peace, COP4, the organizers of the seminar, which termed Transforming the Conflict and Supporting the Peace Builders in Aceh, Mindanao, and Patani Darussalam. And in cooperation with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Malaysia office, headed by Chief Representative Mr. Shuto Monage. My thanks also due from us to the organizers for inviting us on behalf of the POLO for the first time to participate in this fourth seminar, C206. I would sincerely like to convey my congratulations for the organizers for their success in realizing this very meaningful seminar for the Patani Malay, regional and international alike. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a glance at the background of our cause by quoting a historical date and event, as most of us here are quite familiar with. That is the year 1786, which is equal importance for Pulau Pinang as well as for Patani. For Pulau Pinang in that year, Sir Francis Lai founded Georgetown. Coincidentally, in the same year, the Siamese army invaded Patani. Although both set food for the colonization by promulgating policy of divide and rule, the British was still lenient in terms of the so-called give and take. For the then British Malaya, while the Siamese army led the legacy of committed atrocities with utmost rigor against the Patani rights from the start. Sir Francis Light wrote a letter to the British government, General of India, Lord Cornwallis, detailing the massacre and atrocities that he had heard were occurring in Patani. A large number of Patani men, elderly ladies and children were captured and thrown to the ground to be stamped upon by herds of elephants. 4,000 more men was sent back to Ayutthaya as slaves and were later used as laborers to build the new capital of Siam, Port Bangkok. Sadly, more than 200 years later, atrocities still occur. In 1948, known as Gusonyo Ranget Massacre. In 1925, in front of the Patani Provincial Office, 2004 Takbai, Gesek and Sabaya atrocities. At Al-Furqan Mosque in 2009. And countless assassination, tortures, and extrajudicial killings. Judicial killings. Further, we still have no idea as to what extent and the Thai violence minds that end up in brutal acts such as this will see continue or cease. Ladies and gentlemen, as in the aftermath of every violent incident in the past, people tend to find shelter elsewhere. Interestingly, one of the first batches of Patani refugees' destination was the Pulau Pinang. They concentrated in Pulau area around 1820s. Now we meet here on this island, city with unique seafaring story. To set sail the journey together, which join our past with future, to determine the fully farsightedness in building a positive future generation based on harmony and diversity. We the Patani people often victimized but never defeated. And with full comprehensiveness of suffering, dignity and prospect, and yearning for freedom, justice, and lasting peace, since 1902 that marks the renewed essence of violence and brutality, the year Patani was incorporated into the kingdom of Siam. The Patani people have been ignored, disregarded, subdued, and negated. Thai political convenience has negated our Patani Mali Muslim identity, our rights and ethnicity. We have become strangers in our homeland. Foreign culture and way of life were imposed on us. But since the iron barrier has been broken for nearly a decade ago, which paved the way for our new chapter, at the turn of century onward, we simply refuse to be wiped out or supplanted with new falsified identity. Uprising is clearly a manifesto to our resistance, and strength formulation was improved in continuing the just cause and winning back our rights. It is a confrontation of views between the legitimacy of the Patani people and the illegality of the outside occupation. It is time for declaring the moments of truth and unearthing our past glory in a fair manner towards a contemporary self-determination scenario. By advocating this, we are not just standing at this podium as petitioner, but rather as whistleblowers to tear down the wall of darkness, which is irrational and open a sound mind based on reason. We neither search just for guilty nor revenge for past injustices or violence acts, but rather a progressive action in realizing the just peace. To this point, dear Muslim, Buddhist, or maybe Christian too, all face common challenge of new era of democracy, human rights, freedom, justice, and security. From Penang, we launched a pursuit of peace to regenerate our thoughts and means swiftly from confrontation to jointly searching for our common values in societies, respecting one's culture and way of life. Dominion, discrimination and hostility must also be replaced by reconciliation and coexistence under international equality. But this cannot be possible without recognizing the truth courageously and sincerely decide to implement. It seems the truth can no longer be hidden in order that at the end of the day it can fully eradicate violence, which is no more a human right nowadays. The condition of anticipation to emerge in a peaceful coexistence in nature has been too long. It should take place now, and which contains time frame as to respond to the Patani's urgent need to acquire right to live from oppression and to gain recognition of their authentic freedom. Thailand, on the other hand, must demonstrate its willingness to negotiate and accelerate the peace process in good faith and open. In fact, 2010 witnesses actively roundtable talks between both sides at several levels, whether the parties concerned and mediator merely care for the stakeholding or otherwise. We are also fully aware of the difference between strategies and the principle of implementing mutual peace and security. The ongoing negotiation must be systematically based on and referred to the previous